Oh yeah, I'm gonna touch on these topics. So we have, of course, the NFL playoffs. The championship games are here, and the playoffs is about to pretty much on its way close to coming to an end really soon. So let's go and preview the AFC and NFC championship games just to get these on out the way. So we have the top two seeds in the championship between the New England Patriots and the Denver Broncos. Excuse me. The Denver Broncos. My bad. But yeah, the New England Patriots and the Denver Broncos. This is, of course, the third time that these teams have crossed paths in the championship game for the AFC. They crossed paths back in 2013. Of course, that was when Peyton Manning was on the Denver Broncos side, led by, of course, Coach Gary Kubiak and Bill Belichick. And also in 2015, this is the time where the Denver Broncos and Peyton Manning, Peyton Manning was on his last leg, and he was on his way to retirement. And then, of course, Tom Brady and New England Patriots were pretty much getting their way into becoming what we all know for them as a dynasty under the Brady Belichick regime. But this time around, these are younger core pieces, led by the first time Patriots head coach Mike Vrabel, 12-year offensive coordinator Josh McDaniels, and second-year quarterback Drake May. And they're facing up against the Sean Payton-led Denver Broncos, who he is in his second year with a backup quarterback in Jarrett Stidham because Bo Nix suffered a broken bone in his right ankle, which nobody didn't even know at the time until the third play towards the tail end of the game. Once they left and went to the locker room, they end up having to report to every news platform and news outlet to let all of the fans know that Bo Nix will not be playing in the AFC Championship game. So Jarrett Stidham, who has not thrown a ball since he was with the Las Vegas Raiders a couple years ago, is now going to be taken on the hold as the starting quarterback for the Denver Broncos. Now, both teams going into this had top 5 level defenses, top 5 level toe-to-toe defenses on both sides. For the New England Patriots, they were led by Harold Landry, Christian Barmore, Kerryon Ellis, Robert Spillane, Christian Gonzalez, Marcus Jones, and the newly added Carlton Davis from the trade to the Detroit Lions. And for the Denver Broncos, they were top 5 in the league in run defense. They're top 5 in the league in red zone defense. And they're also number 1 in the league in total sacks, where they have over 65.5. So both teams' defenses will be absolutely on a tear, and they will be tearing each other apart, getting after the quarterback, applying a lot of pressure, applying a lot of good schemes. I think Vance Joseph will dial up a lot of game plan, a lot of schemes to force some turnovers on Drake May to get after him. So my thing is, for the New England Patriots, the two big X factors in this game on their side is, number 1, Trayvon Henderson and Ramondre Stevenson. Those two guys have to really be the horses and the bell cows, in this core, because they're going to have to run the ball a lot in this game to really be a balanced attack. Because from what I saw from the Broncos' run defense last week against the Buffalo Bills, now granted, the Buffalo Bills were tops in the league in rushing, which they averaged over 105 yards a game. So they were one of the top rushing attacks in the league. So I understand, but at the same time, they really did not have any outside rush containment. The Broncos defense didn't, and that kind of worries me a bit. Especially, you gave up over 149 rush yards total, combined 117 yards from James Cook on 20 carries, and then Josh Allen had 12 carries of his own, and he had 66 rushing yards. That's a problem for the Denver Broncos. They they are going to have to work on their outside lanes and outside gap and outside integrity, gap containment, in order for them to really get their offense into some short fields. So I would say they have to force some turnovers. So, but for the Patriots, you got to continue to if you want to run the ball on the outside, run the ball on the outside containments, do some counters, do some H-back tosses, do a little bit of like some RPOs. It's kind of like some fake handoff drills to get Drake May and his legs going, because the Broncos seem to really not. The Broncos are a lot smaller in size, and as far as containment and lane integrity, they kind of struggled a little bit last week in the divisional round, and that kind of worries me a lot going into Sunday, because if you struggle like that in containment on the outside rushes, that's a big problem. And especially against a team like the Patriots, who don't run the ball as frequently, as often, as you would think, but they can run the ball when it's time, and when it's said and done, when it's needed and it's asked to require, they can run the football. And I just don't think that they're going to be a point and a footed that they're not just going to avoid, and it's just going to have Drake May drop back and throw the ball over 20 plus times a game, 20 plus times in this game. They'll probably may have him do a little bit of it, but I think running the football on the outside and really have a lot of outside leverage will be the beneficiary for them and help them out a lot more, and to get their offense balanced attack and get some open one-on-one coverages for Stephon Diggs and Kayshon Boutte. Demario Douglas also can be open in the slot too. So I would say running the ball on the outside leverages, and also when it's time, if you want to get a little inside runs but do a little RPO, that can also work. But just try to do those things in order for you to really establish a ground game to get a balanced attack. And I think that'll be the best suited possible for you. For the Denver Broncos, I would say for them, they are going to have to, on their side of the ball, use a lot of R.J. Harvey, Jaleel McLaughlin, to try to run the ball a little bit more in their favor, because they can't just have Jarrett Stidham drop back and throw the ball 40 times. That's just not going to work, especially against a Patriots team who can not only get after the passer, they can frustrate you. Their secondary is elite. They can bat balls down and knock them down and bat them away. They got really good corners on the outside contained, so they really can get after you. And they also can generate turnovers. There was one of the top 10 teams in the league in forced turnovers, and also fumble recoveries too. So just to let y'all know that Patriots team defense is ferocious. They was number 4 in the league in total defense, only giving up only 285 yards, 85.3 yards per game, which is 4th best in the league. So they're not that far behind from the Broncos. I'm just gonna let you know that right now. And to me, this game is gonna come down to X's and O's and coaching. Who has the overall footing as far as coaching strategy, game strategy, in-game strategy? Who also can just play chess? This is gonna be like a game of chess and a game of chess, and sometimes certain people might be playing checkers. So who will be pretty much the one who on the chessboard who pretty much will start to begin to break? It will start to begin to crack down. And then also this game will be coming down to special teams. Who has the best? Who get their teams in the best field position possible, and a opening punt return, opening kickoff return, or possibly a punt return for one of these teams on special teams will be a difference in this game for field position. I just think that this game is going to come down to those things right now, because it's very important. It's very important to really establish that ground. Oh, hey guys, Dash Geometry. Hey, what's going on? And Rava Snell. Hey, what's going on? But yeah, this game will come down to a lot of the X's and O's, coaching strategy, special teams, and also who can force the amount of turnovers and limit these teams for really getting for putting a lot of points on the board. This could be like a low scoring game. See like 20-17. I can see that kind of game going down. And also, this is a kind of game where he really want to focus. Uh, he really want to focus on establishing a ground game and really setting these both of these quarterbacks up in the best position. And as far as the coaching, putting your quarterbacks in the best remaining position possible in order for them to succeed, in order for them to get down the field, in order for them to really establish who they are. I'll be right back. Hold on, guys. I'll be right back. All right, guys, I'm back. So, yeah, we got the getting back to what I was saying, my preview. So, yeah, the both teams will have to come. It will come down to special teams Of course, field position, and also it will come down to just coaching. Who puts their offenses and both defenses both in the best field position possible, and also who can establish who's going to be the one to establish the ground game and really establish it in a way where it puts them in the third and manageable, second down and manageable, and who can make them like the trick plays, and who can make those like kind of exciting a bit. It's gonna kind of, and maybe it comes down to a couple of trick plays like a reverse pitch toss or a H-back toss that turns into a receiver reverse. Like who has that kind of creativity in their playbook and their play calling. I mean, like, both masterminds like Sean Payton and of course Josh McDaniels can come up with those kind of things. And also who can hit their shots down the field when it's most, and who also really has those kind of like just something left in their bag. Like, will it be, like I said, the young upcoming uprising star in Drake May and the New England Patriots, or will it be the backup like Jarrett Stidham, who could pull off possibly a Nick Foles sort of feeling of like putting together a drive and putting together a game of his life where he throws it all around the yard, throws all over the Patriots defense, and really establishes a point of contention where he can put it up there. He can put it up there and put it to a point where it's like a magical run. He could pull off a magical run. He could pull a rabbit out. They could pull a rabbit out of his hat to pull a magical run off. Sorry about that, guys. He could pull a magical run off. So my prediction right now, I'm going with the New England Patriots in this game. I think they are pretty much playing with fire, because I don't really think anybody expected them not only to be in a position where they're in the AFC, back in the AFC Championship game again, which last year, if you did not know, they were 4-13, and they were not even picked to even win a division. Most people was going with the Buffalo Bills to win a division. What happened with the chemistry connection with Sean McDermott, Josh Allen, they was picking them more likely to win a division. But since Sean McDermott is gone and the Buffalo Bills were eliminated in the divisional round, that did not go to plan for a lot of, Vegas bettors, a lot of predictors. It didn't go to plan for them as far as the Buffalo Bills. And then the Patriots, who just were an uprising start, they made a lot of big free agency moves, picked up a lot of veteran players and pieces to go along with the young core, and they just started to be uprising. So yeah, I'm going with the New England Patriots in this game. It's gonna be very close. It's gonna be very low scoring. I'm going with them to win over the Broncos. I say 24-20. I can see this being like I said, a low 20s, low scoring kind of game. But if not, it could possibly be a 20-17, 21-17 kind of game. I think both defenses will establish their dominance in the first and second half. But I think the Patriots will make enough plays involved to really put themselves over the top in order to go back to their first Super Bowl in almost 8 years. I think that they're going to be able to do that, and I think they'll be able to make enough plays down the field. May will find Stephon Diggs, Kayshon Boutte, and then also Hunter Henry and Austin Hooper. I think he'll be able to find his tight ends. I think they'll establish the ground game a little bit more than what they did in the previous couple of games against the Chargers and the Texans. And I just trust the fact that Mike Vrabel and I think Josh McDaniels, and I believe Mike Vrabel and Josh McDaniels will put Drake May and put him in some really good positive situations. I don't think he'll make a whole lot of mistakes in this game. They'll probably force a couple of fumbles, maybe, but I don't think it's gonna be enough. I just don't think it's gonna be enough for the Broncos to establish and come back in this one. I think the Patriots maintain their balance and maintain control. I think they'll go all the way to the Super Bowl. So give me the Patriots in this game. I say 21-17, but if not, it could be a 24-20 kind of game. I can see a special teams play in the fourth quarter that puts them in a position where they can score a touchdown. The Broncos try to get down the field. They couldn't convert on a third and long, and then they had to kick a field goal and go for an onside kick, and that just don't work. So give me the New England Patriots in this one, in a close one, 21-17. Now let's go to the NFC Championship game between the Seattle Seahawks and the Los Angeles Rams. Now, the Seattle Seahawks maintained number one position in the entire NFC and had home field advantage because they not only won on Thursday night against the LA Rams back in Week 16, but they won on the final week of the season against their other divisional foes in the San Francisco 49ers, who they faced off and blew out with an opening 97-yard kickoff return for Rashid Shaheed. The Seattle Seahawks defense on that side of the ball is number one in point differential. Their offense is top 5 in not only the most rushing attempts, they're top 5 in yards per play from Sam Darnold, and they're top 5 as far as what Jackson Smith-Njigba is in yards after the catch. So he's going to be a big key in this game against a Rams secondary and the Rams defense, who hasn't really been that great as far as rushing the passer goes, and their secondary who they've been all over the place, especially giving up over 300 yards to a Carolina Panthers offense who's been struggling all year, and who have been up and down and inconsistent all year, and a secondary who played better against the Chicago Bears and forced 3 turnovers on Caleb Williams, and forced 4 turnovers on Sam Darnold earlier on in the season, and a couple too. So he's been having turnover problems against the Rams. But this time, the Rams over the last month and a half in the season have not been that great at rushing the passer, and they haven't really been that great in their secondary and giving a lot of blown coverages. So I think the Seattle Seahawks should be able to find ways to get the ball down the field and put some points on the board. I think the Seattle Seahawks are going to put a lot of points on the board. I see this game being like a 28-27 kind of game, 30-26 kind of game. A lot of people are kind of worried and nervous about what Sam Darnold, how he's going to perform. I think Sam Darnold is actually going to perform well. I don't trust this Rams secondary. I don't like how they've been playing over the past month and a half in the season, and especially in the playoffs, in the wild card game. I just did not like the way they played. They not only blew a lot of coverages, they was playing a lot of cover 6s, playing a lot of man zone, and they pretty much was getting cooked and getting beat. You can't do that against the Seattle Seahawks team who has Cooper Kupp, Jackson Smith-Njigba, and Rashid Shaheed. That's not going to work. You're going to have to go into your bag. Chris Shula's going to have to go into his bag and really establish how dominant he can be, like he was in the first 8 weeks in the season. So with the Seattle Seahawks having that home field advantage, now they're going to lose a key piece in Zach Charbonnet because they like to establish the ground game. And like I said earlier, as far as rushing attempts, they were number one, and nobody in the game was running the ball more than the Seattle Seahawks with Charbonnet and Kenneth Walker, especially the last couple months and the last stretch in the regular season, the last couple months. So without Zach Charbonnet in this game, that will hurt the Seahawks rushing average and rushing attempts. And also, Sam Darnold has an oblique injury, so that has to be taken into consideration, knowing that he can't really move and he's going to be stiff in the pocket, can't really move as efficiently as he wants to. That hurts the power and the muscle in your body whenever you want to zip the ball and wing it down the field, or when you try to get out of the pocket and scramble because the blitz, the applied pressure is coming at you, and the pressure that's being applied to you is coming after you. If you're rushing like a 4 and they get like a 4-man stunt, and a delayed pressure comes in from a corner spot, or pressure coming from that Mike linebacker spot, or the Will backer spot is coming for a delayed pressure, and Sam Darnold can't be able to move as quickly as he used to or as he can because of that oblique injury. So that is also being taken into consideration. But with the Rams, what worries me, not just about on their defense side with their secondary, and they haven't rushed the passer, their offense, they don't have enough speed. They don't generate enough speed on that side of the ball offensively And you saw that against the Bears, where they had a hard time scoring against a team in the Chicago Bears who defensively, they don't rush the passer at all. Like, they struggle. And that's a big problem. When you don't generate enough speed, the only guy you can do that is Xavier Smith and Tutu Atwell. And you barely even played him in that game. So that is a big problem if you're the LA Rams. So going into it, it's going to be a challenge for both teams, because not only they're dealing with injuries, both teams were dealing with injuries, but both teams were dealing with the fact that their offenses at times can be very limited, either due to injuries on one side or the limitations of not generating explosive plays on the other side. And you had to grind it out and grind it out and grind it out in order for y'all to get down the field so often as you can. This is going to be, like I said, a kind of a high-scoring game. I can see this being in the way upper in the upper 20s, possibly in the 30s. But this time, I'm going with the Seattle Seahawks to win this game, and going to Super Bowl 60 in Santa Clara. I got the Seattle Seahawks winning 30-26, and they'll be moving on and facing the New England Patriots. That is how I feel about this one. I think they are going to be a tough outing for the LA Rams. I think being in Seattle with Lumen Field with that 12th man is going to be too much for them. It's going to be way too much to really establish that kind of footing in that kind of game. And I really, really believe that Kenneth Walker will pretty much have a really big game, featured out the backfield. The one thing the Rams did really improve and got better at last week was they was good at tackling in spaces when they was slowing down DeAndre Swift and Kyle Monangai. They're gonna have to use that same energy and that same hunger and passion in order to slow down Kenneth Walker, in order to slow down that ground game from the Seahawks, in order for them to advance. But that's my prediction, guys. I'm going with the Seattle Seahawks to go into Super Bowl 60 in Santa Clara to face off against the New England Patriots. And so, yeah, those are my thoughts right there. Tell me what you guys think down in the comment section. Who do you have in both games, and tell me why. And I will be out of here. Thank y'all for liking, sharing, and subscribing. And also watching the content as well. I got more content coming for you guys pretty soon. As we're transitioning not only from the NFL playoffs, we're transitioning to the NBA. So yeah, trust me on that. I got more content for you guys all the way through. All right, I'm out. Peace.